Good morning, Disalites. Welcome to today's biology class. Students, we are studying the chapter Morphology of Flowering Plants, and today is on 4th September. Let us take a new topic of this chapter. But before starting with this new topics, let us revisit what we have learned till this class from this chapter. So let us recapitulate. So we have studied about the two main types of inflorescence. We have compared between racemose type of inflorescence and cymose type of inflorescence. After that, we have identified the different parts of the flower like sepal, petals, thalamus, bract, carpel, pistil, stamen, etc. Then we'll have learned that in some flowers, like the flowers belonging to the family Liliaceae, have fused sepals and petals, and together they form tepals. The whole of tepal is called as perianth. Then we studied that flowers are divided into types based on the symmetry. So based on symmetry, flowers are divided into three types: actinomorphic, zygomorphic, and asymmetrical flowers. Asymmetrical flowers cannot be divided into any equal halves by forming any plane, whereas actinomorphic flowers can be divided into equal halves by forming more than one plane, whereas zygomorphic flowers can be divided into only two equal halves by a plane. Then we have studied that flowers can be also divided into trimerous, tetramerous, and pentamerous type based on the number of sepals and petals they have. Then we have studied that the flowers can be divided into two types: bracteate flower if the flower has bract, and ebracteate flower if the flower do not have any bract. Then we divided the flowers into three types: hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous, based on the position of the ovary with respect to the sepals, petals, and the androecium. Then we studied the first whole of the flower, that is calyx. We knew that calyx is composed of sepals, and these sepals are green in color and they protect the floral bud. Now the sepals may be arranged in two different ways: polysepalous, where the sepals are free, and gamosepalous, where the sepals are fused with each other. Then we studied about the second whole of flower, that is corolla, and we got to know that corolla is composed of petals. These petals are colorful and they are mainly functioning to attract the pollinators. These petals are arranged in two different ways. If the petals are free from each other, we call them as polypetalous arrangement, whereas in some flowers the petals seems to be fused, like the flower datura. Those kind of arrangement of petals are called as gamopetalous. Gamo means fusion. And then we also studied about aestivation. Aestivation means arrangement of the sepals and the petals on the flower bud. This aestivation were of different types: velvet, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary kind of aestivation. So we have studied all these things, or all these subtopics in this chapter. So let us see what are the learning outcomes for today's class. In this class, we are going to describe the structure and the types of stamen. We are going to explain the types of carpel present in different flowers. We are going to define placentation and name the different types of placentation also. So let us get started with today's topics. So in this slide, it is very much visible that a stamen, which is the male reproductive organ, consists of a filament and an anther. So a collection of a stamen forms the reproductive whole, or the male reproductive whole, called as androecium. So the androecium is the male part of the flower, The androecium consists of stamens. A stamen consists of anther and a filament. Now in the image you can see that the anther consists of 4 chambers or pollen sacs in which the pollen grains are present. It is very well visible in the image. And this anther is also bilobed. There are only 2 lobes and each lobe has got 4 pollen chambers. After that, we have to know that all the stamens do not possess pollen grains. There are certain stamens which are sterile. They do not bear any pollen grains. Those kind of stamens are called as staminode. Not stamen but staminode. So a flower may have some stamens, functional fertile stamens producing pollen grains, and there might be some stamens or staminodes which are sterile. They are not producing any pollen grain. But it cannot be like this, okay, that a flower has all the staminodes. It cannot be like this. Then the stamens, how they are arranged in a flower. So the stamens may be arranged in form of epiphyllous, epipetalous or gynandrous. Sometimes the stamens, they are attached to the perianth. Remember students, we studied about perianth. Perianth, I told you, I revised in today's class also. Perianth is the whole of tepal. So sometimes this stamens, they are lower part of the stamens, they are joined with the tepals or the perianth. So that kind of arrangement of the stamens is called as epiphyllous. Another kind of arrangement of the stamen is that stamens, they are connected to the sepals. It seems that as if from the petals the stamens are coming out, not from the base of the thalamus, base or the thalamus. Those kind of flowers are called as epipetalous flower. Epipetalous. There are a certain kind of stamens which are fused with the gynosium. It seems that the stamens are coming out from the carpel or the pistil. Actually, it does not come out from the carpel or the pistil. It's from the base. But some of the parts of the stamen, the filament is united, it's fused. It's so close that we cannot separate it out. So the third kind of arrangement of the stamen is gynandrous. Another type of arrangement of stamens are whether the stamens are present alone or the stamens are, they are grouped. So the arrangement of the stamens can be again divided into 3 types: monoadelphous, diadelphous and polyadelphous. In monoadelphous, you see all the stamens, they are present in only one group. So take this example. The first image is from a China rose or hibiscus flower. So you see all the stamens, their base are connected, they are joined. Only the upper part of the filament is separated. So those kind of stamens are called as monoadelphous. Mono means one, so they are grouped in one. Number 2 kind is diadelphous. So if the stamens are arranged in 2 groups, then we call it a diadelphous arrangement of stamens. Sometimes all the stamens are free, they are not fused. So that kind of arrangement of stamen is called as polyadelphous. Now we will move to the 4th hole of the flower, that is gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female reproductive hole, and the gynoecium consists of the carpels and pistils. We all know that the carpels or pistil consists of the stigma, the style and the ovary, and inside the ovary there is a ovule. We know all these things from class 10 onwards. Now we don't know what are the types of gynoecium. Now gynoecium are of 2 types, apocarpus and syncarpus. if a flower has got more than one carpel or pistil, remember students, we all have been studying till class 10 that a flower has only one carpel or one pistil. We are drawing that diagram only, but it is not in reality. In reality, there are certain flowers which have got more than one carpel or pistil. Now, how are these carpels or the pistils arranged? Are they grouped together or they are free? Now, if these carpels are free, we call them as apocarpous flower. And the flower in which the carpels are fused, at least the lower part of the carpels are fused, then we call that the flower is syncarpous. Syn means fuse and apo means free. Next, we all know that the carpel consists of stigma, style and ovary, and inside the ovary there is the ovule, and ovule has the egg. Now, what will happen to this carpel when fertilization of the egg takes place inside the ovule? So after fertilization, what will happen? The ovary will develop into fruit. Now you can compare the ovary into the fruit. You see the ovary is becoming the apple. The ovule is becoming the seed. So after fertilization, the fruit develops from the following layers. The fruit wall from the ovary wall. There was the ovary wall inside which ovule was present. So the ovary wall becomes a fleshy part of the fruit, whereas the ovule results to seeds. Now, the last topic of today's class that we will take is placentation. Now, we know that what is placenta. Placenta, in reference to animal, placenta is a connection between the uterus and the embryo. So, similarly, in plants also, the connection between the ovule and the wall of the uterus is the placenta. So, placentation is the pattern of connection between the ovule to the wall of the uterus is placentation. Now, this placentation in different plants are of different kind, a variety of placentation, like parietal, when the ovules are sticked to the wall, the peripheral wall of the ovary. I'll show you some pictures that will be clear, but first we'll go to the terms. Parietal word has come from the word periphery. Now, if the ovules are attached to the periphery wall of the ovary, we call it parietal kind of placentation. Number 2 is axile. In axile kind, the ovary has an axis in between and the ovules are stick towards whole throughout the axis. Number 3 kind of placentation is free central. In free central, the ovary is not having any kind of partition and the ovule is present at the center without any connection to the outer wall. No axis, no connection to the base, no connection to the top, no connection from the side. It is present in between. Number 4 is a basal type of placentation. In basal type is a very simple one. The ovule is placed at the base. It's connected to the base of the ovary. And apical, when a single ovule is present at the apex of the ovary, of course inside. Now we'll look into some of the pictures. See this marginal, see the example of P or parietal also. So in this case, what do you see? The ovules, these are actually sticking to the margin of the ovary. The pea pod, the skin of the pea fruit, the pea pod that you see, it is actually the ovary, and those seeds are actually the ovules. So ovules are connected to a margin of the ovary. Then a second kind of placentation that we can take is the axile. In a tomato, okay, in a tomato, what happens? There is an axis in between and the seeds are arranged, all around the axis. Number 3 is a parietal kind of placentation. This kind of placentation we can see probably in a cucumber. So here you see how the seeds, these seeds are actually what? Seeds are actually the ovules. These ovules are sticking to the the wall of the ovary, the wall of this cucumber fruit. The another kind of placentation, the base cell, you can see how this ovules are connected to the base of this ovary. And the last final one is the free central. You see how this yellow part, I have marked it with red, how that yellow white ovule is present inside the ovary without any connection. There is no connection from the top, no connection from the periphery also. So it is present, or it's like floating inside the ovary. So this much for today. So let us revise before ending the class. What did we learn today? In today's class, we learned about the third hole, that is the reproductive hole, called as androecium. We learned that androecium consists of stamens, the male reproductive unit. We also have learned that each stamen is bilobed, consisting of two pollen chambers with a filament and anther. Some flowers have a sterile stamen called as staminode. Some stamens may be epipetalous if the stamens are connected to the petals. Some may be epiphyllous if the stamens are connected to the tepal or the perianth. Stamens may be arranged in one group, monoadelphous, may be present in two groups, diadelphous, or may be free or arranged in more than two groups. We call them as polyadelphous stamens. Then we learn about gynosium. Gynosium, the fourth hole, or the second reproductive hole, consists of the carpels or the pistil, is a female reproductive unit. Each carpel consists of stigma, style, ovary. A sterile stamen is called as a staminode. The carpels may be again two types. If the carpels are free, we call them as apocarpus, and if the carpels are fused, we call them as syncarpus. The ovules may be arranged in different ways inside the ovary, and those arrangement is called as placentation. The placentation can be marginal, axile, parietal, free central, or basal kind of placentation. So thank you for attending today's class. I hope you have understood today's class, and do watch the video. If you don't understand the video, please play it again and again, and don't skip this video because of having your ongoing classes. It will hardly take 15 minutes to watch the video. At least watch once or twice, and if you find any kind of doubt with the terms, please ask me. I'm there to help you out. Thank you for attending the class.